For centuries, the Predators had reigned supreme across the galaxy, their names synonymous with destruction. Civilizations that once thrived were now reduced to smoldering ruins, the remnants of cultures scattered as ash in the wind. This warlike species, fueled by conquest and brutality, had mastered the art of domination. Their fleets, massive and technologically superior, moved from system to system, crushing all in their path. Entire worlds would fall within days, their defenses shattered by the overwhelming force of the Predator armada. Their tactics were simple but devastating: overwhelm the enemy with superior firepower, crush morale by destroying key infrastructure, and leave no survivors to offer resistance. Most species never stood a chance. The Predators didn't negotiate, didn't offer terms of surrender. They simply annihilated. Advanced technology enhanced their already formidable military power, with ships bristling with weaponry and shield systems that few could penetrate. Their reputation alone caused most species to surrender before the battle even began, knowing resistance would only prolong the inevitable. To the Predators, the galaxy was theirs to take, and they saw themselves as the rightful rulers of all sentient life. After centuries of unchecked expansion, the Predators began to feel that no species could match them. They had faced countless civilizations and emerged victorious each time, leaving no significant challenge to their supremacy. From their perspective, they were invincible, their dominance unshakable. With no worthy adversaries left, the Predators had grown complacent, treating their next targets as mere exercises in maintaining their dominance. Their eyes turned to the next prey on their list: humanity. A small, seemingly insignificant species from a distant arm of the galaxy. The humans were new on the galactic stage, relatively unknown, and lacked the grand fleets or technological marvels that characterized other species. To the Predators, they were little more than a blip on the radar, a minor nuisance to be eradicated. As far as the Predator command was concerned, humanity would fall as easily as all the others before them. This would be another routine conquest, a swift and brutal campaign to remind the galaxy who ruled the stars. The Predator fleet set its course for human space, fully confident in their ability to subdue this fragile species. A scout fleet was dispatched to assess human defenses and prepare for the main invasion force. These scouts, veterans of countless campaigns, expected nothing more than a brief skirmish. They had seen it all before: initial resistance followed by a swift and decisive victory. When the Predator scout ships emerged on the fringes of human-occupied space, their sensors detected Earth's colonies and its outer defense systems. It was clear that humanity had some military capabilities, but nothing that could pose a real threat to the Predator fleet. The humans would fight, no doubt, but they would lose, just like every species before them. As the Predators began to close in, they noticed something unexpected. Human ships had not scrambled in a desperate defense. There was no sign of panic or chaotic evacuation. Instead, humanity appeared eerily calm. Human leaders were not caught off guard. They had been monitoring the movements of the Predator fleet, analyzing their tactics, and preparing for the inevitable confrontation. But rather than panic, human strategists recognized that this was no ordinary invasion. The Predators were the galaxy's most feared force, and conventional defense would lead to annihilation. Instead of mass mobilization, humanity took a different approach. They began quietly preparing a strategy, one that would play to their strengths and exploit the arrogance of their enemy. While the Predator scouts gathered their data, they remained unaware of the deeper plans being forged by human military commanders. The Predators expected a one-sided battle, but humanity had no intention of fighting by their rules. As the Predator fleet prepared to unleash its full force, human leaders made a decision that would leave their enemies baffled. Rather than assembling a large defensive armada or calling upon the might of Earth's combined military forces, they chose a different course of action. They would send just one ship. The UNS Resolute was dispatched, a lone warship cutting through the vastness of space toward the Predator fleet. But this was no ordinary vessel. The Resolute was humanity's most advanced piece of military technology, a prototype designed for strategic warfare rather than direct confrontation. It was small, sleek, and packed with experimental systems that had been tested in secret. Its advanced stealth capabilities, combined with precision weaponry and an AI-driven tactical system, made it unlike any ship humanity had ever built before. The decision to send the Resolute was bold, bordering on reckless. To the untrained eye, it might have seemed like a desperate last-ditch effort, a futile gesture by a species outclassed in every way. The Predators, monitoring the situation, were bewildered by this move. Their sensors detected the lone human vessel approaching, and confusion spread through their ranks. Why send just one ship? Surely this was a mistake, a sign of humanity's desperation. Amused by what they perceived as human cowardice, the Predator commander gave the order to engage. He saw the single ship as nothing more than an insignificant obstacle, a minor annoyance before the real invasion began. He was confident that the Resolute would be destroyed within minutes, clearing the way for the main fleet to descend upon Earth's colonies. The Predator fleet's guns powered up, ready to unleash their wrath upon the approaching human vessel. But as the Resolute drew closer, the Predators would soon realize they had vastly underestimated their prey. The humans had chosen not to fight by the Predator's rules. And in doing so, they had already begun to turn the tide of the battle before a single shot was fired. The Resolute charged into the Predator fleet, a single human warship facing the full might of their armada. The Predators, confident and ready for what they believed would be a quick victory, unleashed their firepower without hesitation. Lasers, missiles, and energy blasts tore through space, filling the void with destruction aimed directly at the lone ship. But instead of being obliterated, the Resolute slipped through their attacks with an agility that defied the Predator's expectations. The human warship dodged and weaved, its movements unpredictable and precise. The Predator gunners, who had rarely missed a target in battle, found themselves unable to land a single hit. The Resolute's advanced stealth systems confused their targeting systems, rendering the human ship almost invisible at times. Frustration began to spread among the Predator ranks as their overwhelming firepower accomplished nothing. The Predator commander, watching from his flagship, grew impatient. He had expected to watch the human vessel torn apart in seconds, but now, minutes into the fight, the Resolute still danced through their barrage unscathed. With their weapons failing to find the mark, the Predators were momentarily stunned. This wasn't how battles were supposed to go. They were the hunters, the destroyers of worlds, and this tiny human ship was making them look foolish. The Predator commander barked orders for more concentrated fire, but it was too late. The first cracks in their confidence had begun to show. The Resolute, having evaded the Predator assault, initiated its counterattack. But instead of returning fire with overwhelming force, it struck with precision. The human crew had no intention of engaging in a slugging match against a vastly superior fleet. Instead, they used hit-and-run tactics, targeting critical points in the Predator formation. The Resolute would appear briefly, launch a barrage of pinpoint strikes at exposed systems, then disappear into the shadows of space before the Predators could respond. Every shot counted. The Resolute didn't waste a single missile or laser blast. Each attack was aimed at vital components, power generators, communication arrays, shield nodes. Human commanders had studied Predator battle tactics meticulously, identifying the fleet's weaknesses, and now, in real time, they exploited them. As each Predator ship struggled to regroup, the Resolute was already striking at another target. The Predator commander watched in growing disbelief as the human vessel, despite its size and the sheer number of enemies it faced, began to dismantle his fleet piece by piece. Communication failures spread across his ranks. Ships were unable to coordinate, their messages garbled or delayed. It soon became clear that the humans were not only using superior tactics but had also compromised the fleet's systems. Human hackers were causing havoc from within, disabling crucial systems, and sowing confusion. Predator officers found themselves unable to relay orders effectively, and the once organized fleet started to descend into chaos. Despite the Predator fleet's size, they were being outmaneuvered at every turn. Isolated ships, cut off from the main force, became easy targets for the Resolute. The Predator's overwhelming numerical advantage meant nothing when they couldn't respond as a unified force. With each surgical strike, another key ship was crippled, its weapons offline, or its engines disabled, leaving it floating helplessly in space. The Predator commander's frustration turned to rage. How could a single human ship cause this much damage? His fleet was built for war, designed to crush entire civilizations. Yet here they were, unable to stop a lone vessel from tearing them apart. He ordered his officers to regroup, but the damage had already been done. Their formation was shattered, their lines of communication broken. He realized, with growing dread, that the humans weren't just lucky, they were systematically dismantling his forces with cold, calculated precision. And then the psychological warfare began. The Resolute started broadcasting misleading transmissions across the Predator fleet's communication channels. Some ships received false orders, telling them to retreat, while others were given conflicting commands that led to further confusion. Predator radar systems were manipulated, showing phantom human ships where there were none. The Resolute's tricks only deepened the chaos, leaving the Predators unsure of what was real and what wasn't. Human voices filled the Predator channels, calm, steady, and mocking. They discussed strategy and tactics as if the battle was already won, making it clear that this was all part of their plan. The Predator officers, already on edge, began to panic. It was clear now, the humans had been watching, learning from the Predator's previous conquests. They had anticipated the fleet's every move and turned the Predator's own methods against them. The Predator commander, once so confident, now felt the weight of fear pressing down on him. He had underestimated the humans. They weren't just another prey species to be crushed underfoot. They were something far more dangerous, adaptable, strategic, and ruthless when necessary. Every moment that passed only made it clearer that the battle was slipping away from him. With each passing minute, the Predator fleet lost more ground. Ships were disabled, communications scrambled, and the once powerful armada had become a disorganized, scattered force. The Predators had expected to steamroll humanity in a matter of hours, but now they were fighting for survival, struggling to maintain any semblance of control. The Predator commander knew, deep down, that the tide had turned. The humans had not only survived, they were winning. Fear, a sensation the Predators had long believed to be beneath them, now rippled through their ranks. The battle, once a foregone conclusion in their favor, had transformed into a nightmare they hadn't anticipated. As the Resolute continued its relentless assault, the Predator commander could only watch in helpless frustration. His fleet was crumbling, and there was nothing he could do to stop it. The Predator flagship, the heart of their command, floated in space, imposing and indomitable, or so it had seemed. But now, the Resolute, the single human warship that had defied all odds, closed in on its final target. The Predator commander watched in disbelief as the human vessel methodically disabled his fleet, ship by ship, and now, with surgical precision, moved to strike the fatal blow. A barrage of carefully calculated attacks slammed into the flagship's critical systems. The shields failed, engines sputtered, and communication systems went dark. The once mighty ship was now adrift, its crew scrambling in disarray. Without their flagship to guide them, the rest of the Predator fleet was left leaderless, disorganized, and vulnerable. The Predator command structure had crumbled, and their confidence shattered. The Resolute didn't stop. While the Predators hesitated, stunned by the unexpected loss of their command, human forces executed a flawless coordinated attack. With the Predator flagship out of commission, the remaining Predator vessels fell swiftly, one after another, like dominoes. The humans had anticipated every possible move, outmaneuvering the Predators at every turn. Decisive strikes disabled weapon systems, engines, and life support systems, leaving Predator ships crippled in space, unable to fight back or even escape. The Predator commander, his pride and arrogance now crushed, stared at the wreckage of his once dominant fleet. He had underestimated humanity from the start, and now his mistake was undeniable. The only thing left was survival, though even that seemed uncertain. Faced with complete annihilation, he was forced to make a decision he had never imagined possible: retreat. It was an unbearable humiliation, but he knew that continuing the battle would lead to total destruction. With a heavy heart, he gave the order. The Predator fleet, once the terror of the galaxy, began to fall back. Their ships, battered and broken, limped into the dark recesses of space, fleeing from a species they had once dismissed as insignificant. The predators, who had conquered world after world with brutal efficiency, now found themselves running, their defeat undeniable. The battle that had begun with such confidence on their part had ended in shame, as the humans stood victorious. As the predators fled, news of humanity's triumph spread rapidly across the galaxy. Word of the predators' defeat at the hands of a single human warship was met with astonishment. Species that had once cowered in fear of the predator fleet could hardly believe the reports. The predators, who had ruled with an iron fist for centuries, had been brought to their knees by a species previously considered weak and inconsequential. The galaxy buzzed with the realization that humanity had risen to become a force unlike any other. For some, this news was a beacon of hope. Species that had been subjugated or lived in constant fear of the predators now saw humanity in a new light, as potential protectors and allies. Representatives from these species quietly began reaching out to humanity, seeking alliances, eager to be on the side of those who had proven themselves capable of standing up to the galaxy's most fearsome force. Diplomatic channels opened, and conversations about trade, defense pacts, and mutual cooperation began to form. For others, the reaction was one of caution and uncertainty. Some species that had looked down on humanity now reevaluated their positions. They had once believed humans to be backward, technologically inferior, and unworthy of attention. Now, they realized a grave mistake in their assumptions. These species, once indifferent or even hostile to humanity's presence in the galaxy, reconsidered their stance. Underestimating humans was no longer an option. The political landscape of the galaxy began to shift. Humanity, once relegated to the fringes of galactic affairs, now stood at the center of attention. Species that had been neutral or indifferent to human existence suddenly found themselves acknowledging the strength and resilience of a race they had never seen as a threat. The galaxy's balance of power was changing, and humanity was now at the forefront of that change. Meanwhile, aboard the retreating Predator fleet, the commander reflected on the disaster that had unfolded. His defeat was total and humiliating, a stain on the legacy of the Predator's dominance. The battle had shown him something he could not ignore. Humans were different. They were not prey to be easily conquered, nor were they another species to be intimidated by sheer force. They were strategic, adaptive, and capable of wielding technology in ways the Predators had never anticipated. The humans had turned the very tools of war against the Predators, not through brute strength but with cunning and precision. This made them far more dangerous than the Predator commander had ever imagined. As he watched the remnants of his once invincible fleet flee, he was haunted by the realization that humanity had not only survived the Predator's onslaught, they had won, and in doing so, had changed the course of galactic history. For the first time, the Predators, who had instilled fear in countless civilizations, felt fear themselves. It was a foreign sensation for the commander, but he could no longer deny it. The humans had forced the Predators into a retreat, something that had not happened in centuries. What was worse, the Predator commander knew that this was not just a tactical defeat. It signified the beginning of the end for the Predators' reign of terror. The galaxy had witnessed their vulnerability, and humanity had proven that the Predators were not invincible. As the Predator fleet disappeared into the shadows, the galaxy braced for a new era. Humanity, once disregarded, had risen to the challenge and emerged victorious. The Resolute had shown the galaxy that humans were not to be underestimated. Their strength lay not in overwhelming force but in their ingenuity, adaptability, and refusal to be defeated. The Predators had learned this lesson the hard way, and now the galaxy watched in awe and apprehension. Humanity's ascension had begun. The Predators' retreat marked the end of their unchecked dominance, and the dawn of a new power in the galaxy. Where the Predators had once terrorized, humans now stood as a force to be reckoned with. It was clear to everyone that the galaxy would never be the same again. Humanity had proven they were more than capable of defending themselves, and as the Predators fled into obscurity, the humans prepared for their future, confident in their place among the stars.